I'm Autumn Stringham, and today I have my favorite little Samantha with me. So here's the deal with Samantha. How old were you when you started being sick?
When I started being sick.
Yeah, okay, so just for the mom, just for just like to alleviate a little mom guilt. There's a certain age where children stop telling you what's happening in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And Sam was not obviously sick until she was, and at that point I think it was too late for
Too
her.
far gone.
So,
So I
right?
didn't have any reason to tell you because I just figured that was normal.
Yeah, and sometimes, it's like she'd go spend some time in the bathroom. I honestly thought she was just avoiding doing the dishes. I didn't know. TMI, okay? Anybody who's been here though, like weird stuff happens with
Yeah.
ultimately what were you diagnosed with first?
So when I was 14, I went down really hard and eventually got in to see a gastroenterologist, and he diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis, pretty severe ulcerative colitis.
Right, and you've been to see the doctor a few times before,
Yeah,
and
they tested me
nobody
for
was really,
parasites and stuff.
yeah, like, oh, is it gluten? Is it this? Is it that?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then suddenly major problems with your heart rate and a trip to the emergency
Right.
room, and suddenly, boom.
Because I was doing pretty good, and then ended up having a couple more surgeries in between, and then eventually I started feeling really sick again. I was like, oh no.
Okay, so she starts feeling really sick again, and the doctor says to me, hey, it's normal for people with UC, and especially like post surgery, like she's lost a lot of gut, to have mood problems. And so they're kind of like thinking that she's kind of pulling a bit of a hypochondriac trip
Yeah.
because she's complaining about this pain in her gut
But it's like, how
that,
can you have pain in your gut? We solved the illness.
yeah,
Let me
we
figure it
took
out.
the whole organ out. Like, there's no way that you have more pain.
Yeah.
And so I'm a bit defensive when it comes to people thinking that my kids have a mental health problem when I know them and I knew that that's not what was going on with her.
Mm-hmm.
And they managed to do another scope, and lo and behold, they discovered
Big problems.
full blown
Yeah.
Crohn's.
So yeah, Crohn's disease. It wasn't as bad as when I was first diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, but it was still pretty bad, especially considering a lot of times when people are diagnosed with Crohn's disease, they still have their large intestine, and if they have Crohn's disease, they will never take the whole thing out. But they had done that
Already
to
had
me.
thinking
Yeah.
and they'd done all these tests and ruled out and imaging and everything for like a
Yeah,
while,
oh no.
and they felt like they had completely ruled
It's
out
just what
the option
happens.
of
It
Crohn's.
wasn't Crohn's disease when they started that, and then I think whatever. I don't know what I think, but anyways, that's what
So
happened.
so
It's
now it's
okay. It's
affecting your
nobody's
entire
fault, but
digestive system.
now I have to deal with that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and
So
and
super
the
compromised.
yeah.
So in terms of mineral absorption, when all you have is a small intestine and everything's moving very quickly and it's slippery and painful,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really have a lot of time to absorb nutrients from your food, and you don't really have time to break down a supplement properly. So
Yeah.
Samantha went from having a reasonable response to Empower Plus, where we really felt like it was kind of keeping her together, to having essentially no response to Empower Plus. And so then we're seeing a nutritionist, we're seeing all these people trying to figure out what the prognosis is looking like.
Mm-hmm.
And they were telling us, I mean, while you're sleeping and you were having a hard time keeping your job, like you were really struggling there for a little while.
With the Crohn's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And just
for sure.
like really struggling. I think even mentally at that point,
Yeah, no,
for lots of
definitely.
reasons, but nutritional for sure,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, I am like, in a community with people with gut problems and everything, and everybody who's had a surgery, or even just has the illness, because I mean it's like a side effect of the illness. You get depressed from it. You end up having like really just it's hard. It's really hard to deal with, and then just on top of not having any kind of nutrient absorption is like every single person has mental problems. Like
So they were fully expecting you to really wipe out on the mental health
that's
side
the thing.
also.
Whenever I go in and see a doctor, they're always really kind of surprised at how well I am doing.
Right. But you weren't doing that well for a while.
Right.
So she
Yeah.
loses her large intestine, she ends up with Crohn's. Now she's on more medications,
Hmm.
really struggling, and some of the medications are like robbing you of nutrients and you know it.
Oh yeah, for
They're
sure.
telling you to supplement,
Uh huh.
but the supplements, even Empower Plus, like the capsules, like you take these, and I doubt you'd even bust the cap open before it would end up in your ostomy. Like
I don't know. I haven't tested it.
I really don't think you were getting much out of that.
Probably not.
Talk about what happened last year before EMPowerplus Lightning
Was like
was
available.
actually available to anyone else.
Yeah, everyone was doing like little test, like these little like white, scary looking.
Unlabeled.
Yeah, unlabeled. But I was in an anthropology class and it was really intense. It was only like a 100 level class, but it was like intense. And I was writing this big, huge paper. It was like 23 pages by the end of it. And I was just like, I put it off to the last minute, which was my mistake. But I was needing to spend like 12 intensive hours like working on this paper and doing research. And I was struggling. I was like, oh man, I just like, the whole time. Like, I needed to get it done, but I just could not focus. And whatever, Dad comes over and he's like, hey, like, try this stuff. Like, here, just tell me what you think of the
Mystery
flavor.
powder in a white tube.
he's like, yeah, give this a try and like, let me know how you like what it tastes like or whatever. And I was like, all right, sounds good. Like, take it. I'm like, oh yeah, whatever, kind of tasty too. So like, whatever.
Tastes like candy.
Yeah.
Tastes like Sour Patch Kids.
And then I realized like 15 minutes later, all of a sudden I was like able to work on my paper. Like, I wasn't agonizing over it. And it was the weirdest thing, and I was like, what in the world? So I told Dad about it, but I realized like this stuff, it turns my brain on in a different way. Like, it gets me to be able to actually focus on my stuff.
And you really were struggling with that. Honestly, Samantha.
Just in general, like even driving, I remember telling you, did you remember that when I was telling you, like, I feel like I'm gonna crash my car because I like am like in one spot and then all of a sudden I'm like 3 miles down the road and I'm like, how did I get here?
Yeah. I know. So of course, with my mental health background, my mental illness background, I was super scared for you. And I know I didn't say a whole lot about it because I was like, let's just like, what can we do? So I make a deal. But it was getting scary because you were sleeping a ton and just kind of volatile.
You need to, I'm 20 now, and I was diagnosed when I was 14, but I got sick. It's been like 10 years of nutrient deficiency.
Okay, 10 years of diarrhea.
So it's
or
9,
compromised.
I guess 9
digestion.
years when you guys came up with this. It was
okay,
9
fair
years.
enough.
9 years of like really, really trying taking like all the little EMP capsules and stuff all the time, eating it all the time, and just like really just kind of built up. It was 9 years of it before this stuff.
And a crazy clean diet. I actually like dropped off the planet, stopped writing, stopped advocating for people because I was cooking for her.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we went to all natural, crazy everything. We did everything we possibly could to solve this problem, and it wasn't going to get solved.
It wasn't going to get solved. So it is what it is. But now I have to deal with the nutrient deficiencies. And so
right. So this has just been a total game changer.
Yeah.
I literally called my brother, who has helped with the technology on this thing, and just cried on the phone after a few months and realized you were at college, you were doing all this stuff, you were working and at college.
I stayed
totally
at a job.
Adulting.
I finally stayed at a job for over a year. I had to quit for COVID when I had to come back home.
Yeah.
But I stayed at a job. I stayed at a job for a whole year, which unheard of. And I went to school. Think about that. I was at school living at home, and then later on in the year, a couple months after that,
you were suddenly living independently.
Yeah, I was moved out.
Moved out, had your own job, doing your own thing, maintaining your own vehicle,
getting awesome grades, taking like a ton of credits. I realize now, like, I wouldn't have been able to do that.
Nope.
Before.
No.
I wasn't able to
you
do that
you were
before.
sleeping 12 hours a day and taking some online classes and not even full credits. Like, you were taking minor stuff and struggling.
Yeah, and
this has made
that is a huge difference for
this
me.
has been a massive turnaround. This year has just been incredible. Samantha's been able to handle stress and do things that I just never imagined that she would do.
A lot of stress
because of the new forms.
It's good. Like, I don't notice as much of a difference like I did the first time I took it, when it like hit my brain and 15 minutes later all of a sudden I was able to focus. But I think just because I'm always in like a state of better.
Yeah, you are doing so much better than we ever thought you ever would, and I guess that's the most amazing thing. So does EMPowerplus help with Crohn's or ulcerative colitis? I don't think so.
No.
I don't think it does anything for that disease. And I except perhaps helping her to feel stronger and calmer and coping with stress in a different way.
Well, that's
I
the thing. I
think
think
that
there's
you've
something to
been
be said.
strengthened throughout,
Well, yeah, I think
but
that like
this is a game changer for you.
if I'm not like freaking out, because I know that like I don't know if it's the same for like a lot of different autoimmune things, but like stress will like heighten it. Like I will get as soon as I've had a really stressful month, well, 2 months. The last like 8 weeks have been really bad for me, like really stressful. And I was like, oh man, like I'm feeling like so I've been taking a lot of this because it's like it helps me stay on top because as soon as I start being able to like really feel the mental stress of like my life situations, my like gut problems come
Are
back up
exacerbated.
a little bit. Yeah, because
Yeah.
it's like it's stressful, and so like being able to cope better and like stay calmer and everything like that. That's it. I guess in like a weird roundabout way, it does help my gut problems because they're not exacerbated.
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 That
so,
word.
So that's basically yeah. So it does kind of help in a way if you think about it, but
Yeah.
not directly.
But not with the
like,
primary disease.
right, not the primary disease, but
Just all the side effects of the disease.
the side effects of the disease. Yeah.
Man, we've been so blessed. It's really crazy to see how far you've come in a year.
It's weird when I think about it. I hadn't actually thought about it that way, like in the timeline with this like in my mind. But I'm realizing, oh wait, I would not have been able to do any of the things I did this year if not for this.
Crazy.
Crazy.